In the very beginning of my business, I was like, oh, I'm just going to make some pretty bracelets because I think people will buy them with some peace signs and some Buddha heads, and didn't have any meaning, just pretty. And I did not sell a single one for like 3 years. I had them. I finally cut them and reclaimed the beads because nobody was buying them. And I was like, okay, universe, divine, I hear you. Like, it has to have a meaning. I'm not just selling jewelry. So every single piece has a story and an intention behind it.
Hi, I'm Ashleigh, and welcome to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast. This is a place for the crystal curious, arcane-minded, and everything in the in-between. In this podcast, we will jump down the rabbit hole into the metaphysical, esoteric, occult, and spiritual realms. Nothing is off limits. I'm a mom, wife, an orthopedic physician assistant by day, and a seeker of all things spooky and kooky by night. I've spent my entire career in the medical field, but have always felt like there is more out there, and this is where we will explore together. We will have conversations with crystal healers, rock hounds, artists, musicians, spiritual coaches, magic makers, and anything woo-woo that strikes our fancy. Let's take our spiritual journey to the next level. So grab a crystal, pour a cup of tea. It's time to feel the big crystal energy. Welcome back to Big Crystal Energy Podcast, the podcast where we explore the mystical, the magical, and the meaningful, one crystal at a time. I'm your host, Ashleigh. And today we're diving into the beauty of adornment and intention. My guest is the radiant and creative force behind Moxie Malas, Jessica Hoch. Jessica is a yoga teacher of 13 plus years, a designer with a degree in apparel design, a mama, a gardener, a biker chick, and the maker of peacefully untamed crystal and aromatherapy jewelry. Her creations are more than beautiful. They're wearable affirmations and energetic talismans designed to support your soul. In this episode, we explore how jewelry can be a tool for healing, intention setting, and self-discovery. Jessica shares how she started Moxie Malas, her creative process, the deep symbolism behind the crystals she uses, and how the practice of yoga keeps her grounded in life and in business. Get cozy, light a candle, maybe roll on some essential oil, and let's dive into this juicy conversation with the Moxie Mala maven herself. Welcome, Jessica.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on today.
Yes. So way back, Jessica had reached out to me, and then I basically ghosted her because I never checked my Big Crystal Energy podcast Gmail account because like nobody ever emails me on there. And then occasionally people do, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so I've actually had quite a few people email me, and then I always feel so bad because I'm like, oh my gosh, I swear I'm not trying to ghost you. But I'm so glad she did, because then when I checked out all of her stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, she would be an amazing guest on my podcast. It would be perfect. But before we get started with anything, Jessica is having her big 10-year anniversary of her business, which is huge. Anybody that has a small business knows that that is a major milestone. So congratulations and
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you. Yeah, it's wild. I can't believe it's been 10 years already. I'm sitting on my back deck pulling photos for all the celebrations, and I'm just like crying over, oh, it's been 10 years, like all these memories.
You're like, gosh, yeah, I'm sure it's been quite a journey. I'm sure there's been like a lot of evolution over the years.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw you had a little post on your Instagram this morning about well, it's probably over by now, but you had like this little quick sale, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get in there. I got to order some things from her. So I did. I got a bracelet for myself, and I got a bracelet for my son, and I cannot wait. They're going to be so beautiful. I'm so excited. One of the biggest things I love in life is supporting small businesses. I just feel like in a world of just all the Amazon and all the big conglomerates and the companies, it's like I have really been trying to step away from all of that. And just support people that have small businesses, because it's so important. And so anyway, let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning. Tell us how you started your business, or what inspired you to create this particular brand, company, all of the things.
Yeah, it's funny because when I first started it was just gifting. So I was making malas for, meditation beads for friends and mentors and things that were in my life. And I had a yoga student come up and ask me, hey, will you make me a custom one? I'll pay you to make it. And a light bulb went off. I was like, wait a minute. It hadn't even dawned on me for it to be a business, right? And then I was thinking more and more about it because I was a yoga teacher full time. I mean, I was teaching like 28 classes a week. It was crazy. This was before I was married, before I had kids. It was nuts. And well, I had my one kid actually. So no, it was after I was married, but the height of my teaching was 28 classes a week. And I had noticed that there were a lot of people that would not come to yoga for a multitude of reasons. And mostly because, I'm not flexible or I can't do yoga, quote unquote, right? But they were missing out on so much more than the physical practice. Yoga and the 8-limbed path and mindfulness and meditation changed my life big time, like 180. And I wanted more people to discover like the healing that could come beyond just the physical movement of the practice. And so that's where like the stones and the crystals and their different energies came in so that I could create something that was a vehicle for that same message of healing and empowerment and overcoming obstacles, but also being playful at the same time. So that's the Peacefully Untamed.
That's incredible. I mean, 28 classes a week. Holy smokes.
It was a lot.
I was reading, like, you have so much experience with yoga and all the training and all of the practice a lot still. I saw that you have an injury or something going over. I saw you on
my
scooter. So
yeah, I fractured my foot playing badminton of all things with my son. And so I've been in a boot for 6 weeks, but I just got it off this week. And so I'm starting my physical therapy. I already started that. And so slowly coming back, I went and visited my yoga studio that I practiced at. I was like, I didn't leave. I'm just injured. So it was kind of fun. I do practice still. I love the sense of community that you get when you're at a yoga studio too. And then when I do my own practice at home, I always joke and say it's more like just kind of rolling around on the mat, just like stretching and breathing. And what do I feel like doing,
Sure. Yeah. So I know that you've mentioned like that it's a broader message of healing, intention, and empowerment with your bracelets and necklaces and things. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a teacher, when I was in classes and teaching that many a week, what happened was that I always like to theme my classes and have a deeper intention behind just the movement, because the movements are more meaningful than just putting your body in a certain position. And so I would always theme it and have these different lessons, so to speak, that went along with it. And I wanted those messages to come off of the mat and into everybody's everyday. It's like wear something tangible they could wear and think about, this is what I'm working on in my life right now. And so each of the pieces that I create has a very specific intention. And I really feel like that is what Moxie Malas is all about, and the intention behind the way I create in general. In the very beginning of my business, I was like, I'm just going to make some pretty bracelets because I think people will buy them with some peace signs and some Buddha heads, and didn't have any meaning, just pretty. And I did not sell a single one for like 3 years. I had them. I finally cut them, and not 3 years, but for a while, it felt like finally cut them and reclaimed the beads because nobody was buying them. And I was like, okay, universe, divine, I hear you. Like, it has to have a meaning. I'm not just selling jewelry. So every single piece has a story and an intention behind it. Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. When I look on your website and at your pieces, they're just so beautiful. And you have all your the collections, and they have all their specific meanings, and they're just so beautiful. And I think what I also like about it is that it's kind of simple too. It's not, you have what you have and you have the meanings behind them, but it's not just so many different options that it can be overwhelming. Because sometimes I think that feels very curated.
Well, I appreciate that because I definitely get the opposite feedback. There's so many choices, I don't know where to go. But also, if you're used to, when you work with crystals a lot like you do, and when you work with intention, you kind of have an idea in your mind of like, this is the intention that I want, and it's a little bit easier to shop. I have a lot of people who are like, what is intention? What is mindfulness? I have no idea. Like, what is this? And they're brand new to the idea of it. And then they get overwhelmed and they're like, I have no idea where to start. And so in my workshops, I help people figure that out too with the intentions and like how to hone in on what is your intention. How do you create an intention or a sankalpa and pick a piece that's going to represent that?
That's actually kind of mind-blowing. I mean, I think I've always been pretty mindful and always had like intentions and stuff with my life. To think that there's people that literally don't even know that those concepts don't even come into their mind.
It is interesting. And when I first started doing it, I mean, I knew that about yoga and things like that. And then when I started doing the jewelry and I would go out to these like craft fairs, so I call it the general public audiences versus like a curated like yoga festival, paranormal convention. Those are very like curated audiences. When I would go to the general audience kind of events, people have no idea what I was selling. I said to my husband, I was like, am I in a bubble? Like, I didn't even realize like everyone I know practices yoga, is intentional, is into the metaphysical, the paranormal, like, holy cow. It was just really eye-opening and also affirming that I am doing the right thing. I am on the right path because there are people who have no idea. I taught a workshop to 240 people. And at the beginning, I asked, who is familiar with the chakras or the energy centers within our body? And about 20 people raised their hands. That was it. And I said, okay, and of those 20 people, who knows what each of them represents and how they work? 2 people in a room of 240 people, all women. And I was like, okay, let's start. Let's begin. And so it was really affirming like, yes, this is what needs to be taught. Or there is a need for this information. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, like you feel like sometimes when you're in it and the people around you know all these different things, like you feel like the market's already saturated sometimes with all of this stuff and everybody already knows about this. But then you realize it's actually just your community is what it is because those are the people that you have around you and those are the friendships that you've curated and, you make friends with the yoga studio and things like that. But the general public, there's a huge need for a lot of these things and a lot of people really just don't know. And I mean, absolutely. I think when we're so absorbed in it, it is true. It feels like everybody knows, but realistically, I mean, I'm sure if I went back to my home state of Nebraska, most people back there, like my old friends and stuff would really you just get up and you live your life and you don't really think about it sometimes.
Well, and you draw in people who are similar to you, similar interests, similar ideas, that kind of a thing. Yeah, it's really interesting. I've driven down to Iowa to do a workshop and the only place that was big enough for the workshop was the bar. And so I ended up standing behind the bar with a whiteboard balanced against all the bottles, like writing down, this is your heart chakra.
That's hilarious.
It's just interesting. It's one of those moments where you're like, how did my life choices bring me to the back of a bar? Like the bar. I mean, previously in my life, it would not have been a surprise I was at the bar, but now it's like, Here we are, full circle.
Well, I have a friend, she lives in Iowa and she was telling me there's just so many options as far as you can go to sound healing and they have Reiki, there's stuff. And I'm like, wait, so you're telling me that you have more options for that in your little town in Iowa than I do in California, where people typically think that you're there in California for all the woo-woo, but I'm like, where I live, it's just not, I'm just in this little pot, it's just not as common. Now, if I lived in a different city, I'm sure it would be totally different, but just where I live, it's just not. I just always think that's so funny because even in the Midwest, there are these little areas where it's just like people have these desires to tap into these things everywhere.
Yeah, and the Midwest community, as far as like metaphysical and yoga and wellness, is really coming together and really growing in that aspect. So I've done shows in Sioux Falls, down in Des Moines, and another one that's on in Iowa, over into, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, like this whole, or Wisconsin and Minnesota, this whole area is really growing in that aspect, in that genre, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last summer I was visiting my parents back in Nebraska and my best friend from high school, she was like, oh, there's going to be this big festival in Omaha. And I was like, oh, okay, let's go. I was so floored. It was amazing. There were so many amazing vendors there and we didn't have much time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could spend a whole day here and I could spend all the money that I have here. And but it was so amazing. I was really small, but nice. Anything like that. We have nothing like that really where I live. I was so excited to be there, but I was just like jealous. Why don't we have that where I live? It's so cool.
Well, maybe you need to create that where you live. Pull everybody together. And then it's like, add that on the list.
Yeah, no, I'm like, oh my gosh, my plate is so full right now.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah.
So you also have this background in apparel design?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparel design and development is my official bachelor degree.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Do you feel like, obviously you like weave all of that together with your jewelry and just everything. How do you feel like all that comes together for you?
It's interesting because when you talk about my brand feeling curated in the collections, that has a lot to do with the training that I received in that degree, because it is about design and aesthetic and color. It's also about function. It's also about production, quality. So all of the business stuff that goes behind it is what I use a lot in my Moxie Malas business versus like the design aesthetic of things, you know. And I've always been drawn to color, textures, balance in things. I come from a big family of artists. My grandma was an oil painter. My mom owned a flower shop for decades. So I've been around color and beauty and aesthetic my whole life. And so that came very easily. But the challenge, I think, for a lot of people where you have an artist brain is having the business brain on the other side of it. So I grew up in family business. So I watched the behind the scenes and learned and then ran that business for many years. And then the technical stuff of the apparel design degree came in with like spec sheets, mass production, finding quality goods, because we sell everything and we make everything in-house. So we're also a manufacturer. So I have to know about sourcing, tariffs, all this stuff. So I source over 220 different stones out of countries, 8 countries all over the world. It's a lot. And that comes from that background of managing that.
When you first went to school for college, what was your goal at that time? What was your original plan?
It was a very different goal than now. I'll tell you that. 18, 21-year-old me was very different. I was going for fashion design. I wanted to be a fashion designer. And so it was all about the clothing. And actually, when I started college, I went in for retail management because I was like, wow, the designer, that's such a far-fetched dream. I just don't think I could do it, you know? And then I did one semester of retail management and they were like pushing, you got to work for Target Corporate because Target Corporate's based here in Minnesota. So it was a great opportunity that it's close. And at the same time, I thought, I've been working in retail my whole life and I want to be a designer, you know? I want to be the artist. And so then I switched. And then fast forward, I graduate and I go to New York City for a career fair and I experienced the hustle, the bustle. I'd been to New York before, but not in that aspect, and thought, oh shit, I don't want this. I thought, oh no, I don't want this, you know. And then I was very fortunate that I had a soft place to land after college with the family business. So I went back and I worked at the flower shop. And then I had a yoga business that was full-time yoga before I had this jewelry business, started the jewelry. And then, that took over and that's been my full-time for 6 years, I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how in our trajectories and all of these things change so much over time. I mean, when I was younger, I used to say that I wanted to grow up and be a biochemist.
It's amazing. Yes. Biochemist.
Biochemist. I'm like, what in the world would I do in the world of biochemistry? That is just like,
you never know.
I'm like, what? Okay. I always like science though. I mean, I was always like, I am still super nerdy and super sciencey, but I just love meshing the metaphysical and the science and all of it, because I think truly so many of things are so interconnected. That people really think that it's like, well, you either have this woo-woo mindset or you have the sciencey mindset. But, you know, honestly, a lot of the big physicists, they all see all of it. They all see all of it together.
That's so funny because that was the first thought that was coming to my mind when you were saying that. I said, well, except the deeper you dive into science, the closer you get to woo-woo. So, you know, or the more you realize, there's not answers for everything.
It's so true. You know, that actor, Mayim Bialik from, she was on Blossom.
Okay.
Remember Blossom? And
yes. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory. Mayim Bialik, she has this amazing podcast, actually, her and her partner, and they interview like all these different chemists and physicists, and they like get into all of these things. Is so incredible, fascinating. So I'm always like recommending that podcast to people. I better hear all of this stuff because they really take a deep dive. That was a big
connect it all. It's cool. No, I'll look that up. Thank you.
Yeah, Mayim Bialik's breakdown. It's so good. So what does peacefully untamed mean to you? Like, how does it show up for you in your work, in your life, all of the things? Because I think that I love the combo of those words together.
Yeah. Thank you. I thought a long time about what I wanted it to say and like what I wanted it to mean, because what I was finding in the yoga, wellness, you know, spiritual kind of community is that everything was peaceful, and peaceful is great. Yes, we are working towards that Shanta, that peaceful center, and we all have that peaceful center. And at the same time, like, we are here for this human experience, and we are here to live out loud and have fun and be playful and be adventurous. And I just felt like there was this taming happening. Like, you have this big, beautiful, wild soul. And to find this peace, you're denying all these facets of yourself. And so I wanted it to be really that, yes, you are peaceful. So you absolutely finding that. And you are this big, bright, beautiful adventure just waiting to happen. So you are untamed and you are free, really, is what it comes down to. So Peacefully Untamed is all about being connected to your center and your peaceful inner self that we all have and living this life out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Because it's so true, right? I think you're really like hitting on something with that, because it does feel like when you step into that whole, the yoga and everything, it's all about just like calming. And yes, that's so true. But some of us, probably you and me, we have these like big personalities.
Oh, yeah. I ride a motorcycle. I want to rip my bike. Like, I want to do crazy things, And
sure.
Well, while I'm doing it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I love that balance between like kind of like these extremes of two things and how they can really kind of all weave together.
Yes, definitely.
So when you sit down to create your mala or bracelet, where do you begin? Is it like intention setting? Is it colors? How does that all come together for you?
It's interesting. I get asked this question a lot, and it's always, I want to say always, but not always. It's most of the time I start with intention. So if I'm sitting down, like for example, my Moxie monthly bracelet club, every month I have a specific intention that I want to work with, which I find, intuitively, and like, what are the messages that I'm hearing, that are circling around. And then I create a bracelet with that. Otherwise, I work with brands and things like that too, where we create something that represents their community, their clients, that kind of a thing. And then work from there. And then I bring it into color and then into the design aspect of it. Well, bring it into more so like the crystals that are going to be aligned with it. So like, let's say I have something that I want to make that is for peace, right? And so then I think about, okay, well, what are all the stones? What does peace mean, first of all? What is the intention behind peace? What does it mean to be peaceful? And then I would take stones and crystals that would represent those energies. And then I would look at them and kind of pare it down to color and design and what looks good, because I know that all those stones and crystals are going to represent that intention. And so now I have a little leeway to kind of pick and choose what stones that I want to use. And then there's sometimes, I don't know what it is, but I feel like my eyes will drink color sometimes. And like right now, there's this gold color, where like this golden color. And I got this new sari silk ribbon that I'm going to use for the tassel. And all I can think of is this gold. And so I'm going to make something like that. But so when inspiration strikes, you just got to follow it, but that. Intentionally, it's usually based on the meaning of the bracelet. Mm-hmm.
Do you mostly make necklace, like the necklace? Is that something that you made here? Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, I made this one. And then this is actually from a local artist. It's blown glass that she creates.
So gorgeous.
It's unbelievable. And so then the colors in this really inspired me. And then actually the colors of this one was based on one of my Moxie monthlies. This is an example of where color came first. My son was sitting in my studio here with me while I was beading, and he was coloring with crayons. And I look over and I'm like, holy cow, that color palette is just perfection. So then I start pulling the stones that match it. And I'm like, oh, there's an intention here, and start working with it. So yeah, it's interesting how it can all come together. But yeah, so I make these, and then I also do bracelets. And then as of lately, I've been doing smaller necklaces as well for our flower collection.
I like how you had on your website that you were able to have like the children's size too, because I know for my son, my older son, he has a lot of issues at times with emotional regulation, and he gets very stressed out and anxious and stuff easily. And so I've been really trying to work with him in different ways of trying to manage that. And so I'm excited to receive the bracelet that I got for him, because I'm going to try to see, because I think sometimes when they get so wound up, that having something that they can come back to and just, focus on that or breathe with that or whatever is very helpful when things seem to get overstimulated and crazy. Because I know that's part of the whole reason why I even got into crystals myself, is just because I felt so dysregulated. And I always liked crystals, but then once I really started using them, it like really, really improved my life and really helped they calm me down.
Absolutely. It's amazing too, because you think, oh, these are just stones. These are just a bunch of rocks. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I've heard it all, right?
Oh, I've heard it all. Yeah.
Over 10 years of selling to anyone and everyone, I've heard a lot. And, but the thing about it is that everything is vibration, right? And so all of these stones and crystals have vibration. Our body is vibration, except the stone and crystal vibration and energy is a solid state. It doesn't have a mind. It doesn't change, where our energy follows our mind and does this lovely little dance with our mind, right? And so when we use those stones and crystals, it is really balancing our vibrational body. And so when you say, oh, you feel so good when you're working with crystals, it's true. I mean, there's like science behind it.
There's a lot of science behind it. And I think for me, not only is it just the vibration, there's certain times when it's like you said, like the certain colors or the certain things that just make you feel a certain way, or how you arrange them or how you wear them. I always have some kind of stone or something. Yeah, I see you are really covered. I am today. I don't even have any stuff on me today. I'm like, oh my gosh, this morning was chaotic. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I have something you need to hear. Have you been feeling a shift, a pull towards something more? Whether you're manifesting new opportunities, confidence, or a major glow up, the universe is listening, and I've got just the thing. In a crystal clarity call, I'll intuitively select 3 crystals to support your manifestations, pull a tarot or oracle card for deeper guidance, and craft custom journal prompts to help you take action. It's more than a reading, it's an energetic roadmap. So if you're ready to align with your highest self, DM me on Instagram at mystical.mama.ash for details and pricing. Let's bring your magic to life. Did you get into crystals first, or you more into like the jewelry? I mean, how would that process go? Was it like the crystals first or with the yoga and then like the jewelry, or?
It's so interesting because when I look back at all of this, it's really so many things came together in this perfect like click to do all of this. I grew up rock hounding at my grandpa's house. He had a riverbed, or back in the woods by his house, we'd look for agates. He had amethyst, huge amethyst clusters and malachite all over the house. And so I was surrounded by crystals from the very beginning and didn't really think anything of it. Like, oh, everybody has crystals around them. Everybody goes and, picks all the rocks that they like, And so it's interesting. So that was always around me. And then my cousins and I, we would go on a big family vacation every summer, and we'd all bring our bead boxes and we would make all of our little bead bracelets. My cousin, a few years into the business, emails me or messages me on Facebook, and she's like, who would have thought that those days on the deck would, turn into something like this? I'm like, I sure didn't. So it's interesting that I've had like the crystals were there already. The jewelry, beading and creating was there already. And then the yoga came along, and the intention and the mindfulness and the self-awareness, like, Svadhyaya, practice of self-study, hugely life-changing. So all of that just came together and was like, ooh, here's Moxie. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I love that, because when I look back, I think a lot of people that whatever they're doing now that's their own creative passion, I think so many things stem from when you were a child and you couldn't really see it at that time. And now it all comes full circle. I know for me, 100%, but I think sometimes we I know for me, like I kind of lost my way a little bit just because I got very busy with trying to pursue the career and trying to do all the right things and, become a mom and all of that. And then you have everything that you think is supposed to be what you want. And then it's like, okay, well, but there's something huge missing. So I was like, okay, well, let's look back on the things that I loved when I was young and let's see how I can incorporate them into my life now. And it made all the difference in the world.
Huge difference. That's one of the things that I love encouraging people to do is, what did you love when you were little? And then I'm like, well, I loved making potions in the mud. I don't know how that, how does that reply? And then I'm like, oh, crystal jewelry. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? If you love to paint when you were a kid, if you love to sing when you were a kid, there's all kinds of things. Or even if you love baking with your grandma as a kid or something like that. There's so many different things that you can pursue that are a part of your passion and be successful, Yeah.
And I think it just is allowing yourself that opportunity to take in the moment to reflect on those things and allow yourself to go down those paths. I mean, I feel fortunate that, my husband is very supportive of all my kooky ideas and when I need to do the things that I need to do, he takes the kids and goes and does whatever, because I mean, otherwise it could be hard. I still work full time. I'm trying to pursue my passions on the side, but it's changed my life in such a way, you know, because I think we all just want to feel like ourselves.
Yeah, right.
You know, I feel connected and all of those things. And yeah, so you were in college, you went and got your fashion degree. And then how did you decide to start doing yoga?
Yeah, I didn't do yoga through college or anything like that. I was a long distance runner. So I've done half marathons. I did the Twin Cities Marathon, very intense, like, you know, and I was on the treadmill one day and looking down at the studio and they turned the lights off and I was like, what's going on in there? You know, and they're doing yoga. And a few times it was like, I just kept staring like, I want to see what that is. I'm supposed to be in there. You know, it was like my intuition was like, hello, go. And then I finally went and I laid down in my first yoga class. And the first thing the teacher says is there are no judgments, no expectations or competition. It's just you. And I just started crying. And I don't think anyone's ever said those words to me in my life. Like, you're okay, just as you are. What? Tears, you know? So yeah. And from that moment on, I was obsessed. Like, I love being in my body and using my body and I used to go dancing all the time, you know? So I just love movement. And I think that being able to move my body in a way that was so nourishing was really life-changing. Yeah.
What type of yoga do you practice mostly?
I would say for me, more gentle.
Gentle yoga?
I would say power yoga in the past. I've tried to get back into the power yoga a little bit more just for, you know, health and getting fit, you know, and it's a lot. But when I first started, it was all power vinyasa. I mean, I loved teaching it. I loved coming up with the flows and moving people and the music and like all of it was just awesome. And now my body and my nervous system are like, can you chill for a minute? So I do a lot of just gentle yoga. And that's why I say it's more like rolling around on my mat. You know, I'm just kind of relaxing and stretching and breathing.
Well, especially now you're recovering from your injuries. So you got to take it easy. You got to be back into these things.
Yeah. The divine was like, you didn't hear me.
You need your feet a lot, I think, in yoga to do a lot of different poses and things. So just let it take its time.
I am.
Because it does take a long time. I know. I work in orthopedic.
Do you really? Yeah. So, yep, I fractured my foot. So it's the calcaneus anterior process is what I fractured.
Oh, wow.
The doctor looked at me. She was like, how did you
I thought maybe most likely it would be like a metatarsal. That's like the most common, or just the toes or whatever. But wow, that's like the calcaneus is like your heel. That's like.
Yeah. Yeah. I rolled it so deeply that it hooked that little edge and this fractured it. So, but that's what the doctor said. She's like, I don't even know how you did this. How'd you even find that bone to break it? I'm like, I don't know, especially because I broke nothing else. It was just that one spot. And it was like, but I had a follow-up x-rays and it's fully healed already. The bone is. But now I'm like rebuilding the muscles and all that around my foot with the PT. So
amazing.
Yeah.
So are there any particular stones that you're feeling really connected to right now? I know that you said that you really love garnet.
Yeah.
What is it about garnet that you love?
I have no idea. I'm so drawn to it. And when I get orders in, like bead orders, and I have like 40 strands of garnet, I'm like, they're like candies. I think what it is that it's so root chakra and so grounding that it feels really good for my energy body. My energy body's like, yeah, see, let's chill. You know,
I had like one little tiny piece of tumble garnet. That's it. I was like, where is my garnet? I know it's around here somewhere, and I only have like one little tiny piece of it.
Like I have a drawer of garnet.
Like, let me got wool around in my garnets.
Seriously. And then also there's another one. This is orange garnet. Like, look at the color. Oh,
Interesting, because there's so much variation.
I know, right? With the orange garnet and then green garnet. I think my eyes could just drink green garnet. This is like a green garnet.
Oh my gosh, I have to grab some. I always forget that it's garnet because it's the Uverovite.
Wow.
It's like so like sparkly and stuff. It doesn't show up that well on the video, but it's.
I know, that's always the hardest part. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Look at that green. Oh my.
Yeah, I've always like so attracted to green stones. I don't really like green. I don't really like to wear the color green, but I love any sort of like the malachites. I love.
Yes. I have this ring is like green tourmaline.
Green tourmaline is so beautiful. I have a lot of really nice jewelry. I've been like
Thank you. I know. Here's what I'm wearing today.
Gosh,
This one's a moonstone. You can't really.
this stone is another one of my favorites.
It's a classic, you know.
Classic. You can't go wrong with moonstone. I hardly ever wear anything because of surgery most of the time. And so we can't ever have our nails painted. We can't wear really any jewelry. And if I forget it, then I've even lost one of my wedding bands in my scrubs at work.
Oh.
It was just a gold band. It was not an expensive, but it was still meaningful. And so I'm like, I wear necklaces a lot. So that's where I can hide them under my scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice themes like what your customers are drawn to?
Yes. And it's interesting because they come in like waves. And all of a sudden I'll get like a lot of strength, keep going, endurance, willpower, those kind of things will come up. And then all of a sudden there'll be a lot of like heart-centered. And then all of a sudden you'll get like a lot of voice-centered or confidence, like standing in my light. I'm setting those boundaries, using my voice, that kind of a thing. And it's interesting to see what the collective is kind of like shifting and picking up on. I mean, over the years, I've seen trends, especially with, the way the world's been going, even over the last 5 years, let's say, watching different, during the pandemic, everybody wanted stones for grounding, keep me, help. I'm feeling chaos, and like just watching how the trends of things that are happening are reflected in what people are purchasing. It's really,
I was going to ask you that, like, especially right now with the political climate and everything. I mean,
it's really interesting. There's a lot. There's a lot
going on. There's a lot of who watch the news. There's a lot going on politically. There's a lot of just tragedy with climate and things that are happening, and it feels overwhelming a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So have something that you can just kind of come home
like
to.
A touchstone, like, okay, yep. Or like I find myself touching my bracelets a lot, or like spinning them, and it's like, oh.
You come home, you can feel a little bit grounded into yourself. Now, I know you also bring aromatherapy into your jewelry line. I was reading about that as well.
Yeah, a lot of the pieces have the lava or like pumice stones in them. And so then you can put pure essential oils on that stone and then use it as a diffuser. So it's like this.
Yes.
We have a little pumice stone. See, then here's another one. And you can put essential oils on it. And then it's a really personal aromatherapy experience. It's not like you're diffusing it in the whole room. So like if you're at work, it's really kind of a personal experience. It's a little more subtle, than if you're going to diffuse. I started doing that because I loved oils. I love diffusing oils. I'm not an aromatherapist. I get asked that question. And I wanted to be able to collaborate with other aromatherapists and have them be able to sell it alongside their oils. A lot of wellness centers sell a ton of oils, and they want jewelry that you can put the oils on. And so that was kind of more the inspiration, was being able to work with other people.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think the bracelet I bought has some, I'll be able to do that.
Yep. I think it has one on there.
I love
little lava bead.
Yeah, that's okay. That's perfect. I just got back from Iceland and I had picked up a few. You're not supposed to take the lava rocks, but I couldn't help myself.
Uh-oh.
I brought home a few pieces of like little tumbles from the beach and stuff. And so I'm like, I can put a little bit of
just tiny,
just a touch. I didn't go wild. I know.
It's like Sedona. People, it's like, don't take it. People are like, just a touch.
Like it's hard not to. It's just hard not to.
Mm-hmm. I was in a podcast interview, and this woman goes, "Yeah, we went on this big hike, and then my husband and I came to the peak, and there was this big black stone sitting on top of all these other stones, right on the top. And my husband took it with him." I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "You should put that one back." Like, oh my gosh,
back.
No, and he had all these health issues that came up after he took it, and they did go back and they did put it back. I'm like, she goes, "Oh, we did put it back." I was like, no kidding. Some things you just don't want to mess with.
That's right. That's right. What are your favorite essential oils? I have my own as favorites, but I would love to hear what you love.
I love some of the like sweeter fragrances. I love ylang ylang, blue tansy, things like that. And then other times, you like blue tansy? I love that.
It's a very interesting scent.
There's a lot of like notes to it, so to speak, and not a lot of people know about it. I mean, they don't think like, oh, essential oils, blue tansy. Everybody thinks, oh, lavender, I also really love earthy smells like spruce and things like that. When I want when I need grounding. And I think that has a lot to do with like the North Woods of Minnesota smell like that, they smell like evergreen, so it's a very homey feeling.
Do you live near, well, I mean, I know it's the land of 10,000 lakes or whatever, but it's probably more lakes. Do you live near any water?
Yeah, I live by a lot of water. I thought people are like, oh, you're in the Midwest, there's not water. I'm like, well, there's Rice Lake, there's Golden Lake, there's Clear Lake, there's Turtle Lake, and those are all within like a couple miles of me. Yeah.
I always remember like loons that were on the lake up at my
Yeah, we had a boat day earlier this week and we anchored and we were swimming around and there were loons. There was like a family of 4 loons just like swimming around by where we were. So I'm like, it's real. It's real.
So beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite stories or impact that your jewelry has made for any of your previous customers?
I do. It's interesting because every time I question what I'm doing, I get like an email or a message that's like, I'm so grateful for what you do. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you, universe, for aligning that. But the one in particular was in the very beginning when I started my business, I was having a hard time rectifying that I was making stuff, quote unquote, like, oh, people don't need more things, more stuff. And so I was just kind of struggling. I was, and I had my first show and was like, oh, selling it. That's also like, for a show, you're putting yourself out there. People are going to like this. I don't know. And a month later, a woman reached out to me and she said, I have been experiencing crippling anxiety for so long. And I've been on all these meds and I bought a mala at your booth and started meditating for the first time in my life with this mala. And now my anxiety is going away. I'm off my meds and it's really changed my life. That solidified it. I think that if she had not sent me that, I don't know what kind of, direction I would have gone with it particularly or if I would have continued even because she sent me that and it really solidified, this is what you're doing. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm creating what I create. And I think about it all the time. Anytime I'm like, what am I doing? I think about that email.
And I think that's why it's so important for people when you shop from some small business or whatnot. It is so helpful to give reviews and to give the feedback because, there's real people that are behind all of this stuff. And you never know how close someone is to maybe just stopping what they're doing because they don't really know if it's making the impact because it is that extra step to go and make a review or send someone a note, but it helps so much.
Mm-hmm. It helps tremendously. I mean, because running your own business it's not all rainbows and butterflies, There are hard decisions, there are hard times, there are low times, there are high times and amazing, beautiful things. And it's a roller coaster, So having that to look back on and having those reviews or that feedback is so deeply meaningful, especially when, you're putting your heart and soul into something and you're really putting yourself out there on a platter for people to look at like, hey, here, to have positive feedback feels really good, especially because you are going to get negative feedback, So, I mean, I get negative feedback of like, this bracelet was too big on me, 1 star. I'm like, well, I'm sorry it didn't fit tell me because we'll resize it. I mean, we make everything in-house. We can take care of it. But it's just interesting how people react,
Do you sell most of your items through your website or do you feel like you sell more at all these different places that you go or is it kind of similar?
It's a mix. Yeah, I would say about 1/3 of my sales are online sales, 1/3 are in-person live events, and 1/3 are my wholesale clients.
Oh,
so
okay.
I sell wholesale to retailers, and so then they are placing orders and reselling.
Do you have any favorite places that when you go to these different, because I saw one, you were like at a paranormal fest. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. That looks so fun.
Those are really fun. So I grew up watching ghost shows, like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, all those things. And my husband loves them. So we've been watching them. We even watched one show and we were like, I thought we could be friends with them. We are so much like them. We go to a paranormal convention. We end up having dinner with them and we're friends. Like we had exchanged phone numbers and I'm like, this is crazy,
Totally manifested that.
Right? I mean, it's nuts. So I do love going to the paranormal conventions because it's such a community and they kind of travel around together. And I collaborate with a lot of the TV personalities doing custom merchandise for them. And it's fun. Plus everybody has their stories of their ghost experiences when they come to my table. They're like, you wouldn't believe it. I'm like, I would. Tell me.
Yes. I love that. That's so fun. My husband is such non-believer and I'm just like, I don't understand how you don't believe. believe. Well, his thing's like, well, if I can't see it, then I'm not going to believe it. I'm like, yeah, but you believe in a lot of other stuff that you don't see. I mean,
you believe in oxygen.
Right. For example, floating down, right? You believe in breathing and you can't see that. So I don't know, but it's so fun. Like I've really enjoyed getting more into learning about paranormal stuff over time. It's just so fascinating. Always loved it. I was thinking, like, even when I was in high school, I was writing papers on all of that stuff and I kind of forgot about it, and it's fun. But you probably have like a variety of different types of events that you go to, right?
Yeah, I do the paranormal conventions. I do yoga festivals. I'm going to be going to a psychedelics convention.
Oh, wow.
I do a spa trade show. So, I mean, I went from like paranormal at Penhurst Asylum on the grounds of the asylum in the building to the spa convention. I mean, it was like a little whiplash, but it's fun though too, because I love being a part of all these different kinds of communities, and then also being able to support them in the way that I do,
Oh my gosh, that sounds like such a good time.
It is bittersweet. It's a very good time. I love traveling. I love seeing everybody, and I miss my family. Sometimes I just want to be home. Like Delta was like, hey, snapshot, thanks for flying 12 times with us last year. I was like, I didn't want to do that. 12 times. I'm like, I need to be home, So my boys are young, and, like you were saying, you have a very supportive husband. I could not do what I do without my husband. I mean, he is a single dad every time I travel, and I'll be gone for 5 or 6 days and he just there doing the dad thing, I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love hearing that. We need good, supportive dads in our lives that can do the work, they're capable too, My friend's like, well, you're going out of town. How's your husband going to handle that? I'm like, well, he's going to handle it because he's the dad.
The dad. I get asked that question all the time. Not as much anymore, but more towards the beginning. People be like, well, where are your kids? You have kids? I'm like, yeah. Well, where are they? With their dad. They're like, oh, what does your husband do for work? I'm like, what does that have anything to do with my business and what we're talking about here? Like, what?
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to have partners that are, if we're having children with our partners, they're supposed to be like,
right? A partner,
and they're supposed to be able to help us and do all of these things. Yeah. So now you're getting into your 10-year anniversary this weekend.
Yes.
How does that feel? Does it feel surreal or what?
It feels surreal. I have a lot of different emotions about it. Like 10 years this has been going. And also like you kind of reflect on, okay, what have I built over 10 years, and where I thought it would be in 10 years versus where it is in 10 years, and then also thinking about who I've become over the last 10 years. Who I was when I started this business is night and day different from who I am now. This business pushed me to my limits, pushed me to my edges in all the best ways, some not good ways, but also the best ways. So I started this in 2015, and in 2019, I was diagnosed with an extreme migraine disability. My business was booming. Things were going great. I was hitting milestones. Every time something good would happen, I would get a migraine. And I was like, okay, something's broken here. And nobody could tell you what a migraine's from, right? For the most part. So I went to therapy, and I had 5 years of therapy, and it's just like, it's wild, like how much has changed when you can stop and look. There's this Vidyaya self-study. And sometimes, I had put a lot of tools in my toolbox of healing and transformation and self-study. And there are just certain things that we need support with, that things you don't know, and working with a therapist, doing EMDR, which is a trauma therapy, is like life-changing. I mean, I tell people openly, I talk about it openly because it was life-changing. And I'll get a migraine, maybe twice a year now, so I mean, and I was getting 3 a week. I could see, it's wild.
Yeah, that's awful. I suffer with them too.
Oh, do you?
No, it's not. Mostly mine are like hormonally related at this point, and I know how to. I've had them for so long. I know what to do.
Yeah.
So it's not. They're not debilitating like they used to be. Now it's like I know when it's coming, and I know what I need to do, and then I can usually just like get rid of it pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, they really are. They'd be like intense and really awful.
Yeah, and people who haven't had them don't understand. They just don't have the same kind of compassion for it. They're like, oh, so you have a headache. And you're like, no, I can't feel this side of my face, but okay, it's a headache.
Yeah. You sound really intense.
Yeah. I mean, they've gotten so much better. I mean, it's unbelievable. So over 10 years of business, the business pushing me to these edges, bringing me abundance, bringing me everything I asked for. And then me breaking down, it was like, had I not been building the business and had it not gotten to these places, I would not have been pushed to seek that. And who knows how long I would have gone on without having that kind of assistance and clarification in my life, about why some of my motivations are what they are. And that's the other thing too. You start a business as one person and then you evolve so deeply and you think, man, is this even in alignment? What am I doing? I mean, I've asked that so many times and then it's like, oh no, we come back. Then I get the email. No, I'm just kidding. And I come back. I'm like, no, this is in alignment. I mean, you look at, like I was telling you, all the things in my life have just to this, So yeah, I think just allowing grace to shift and pivot and to change when something's not working, even if you've poured your heart into it, being able to shift and let things go that you never thought you would. And then also they open up doors to other things.
I mean, thinking about your own evolution over the time and how much you've leveled up and how much you've learned and how it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's wild. Mm-hmm. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for all of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, I even know that even since I just started this podcast like a little over a year ago, I mean, I think once I've kind of opened up into these different realms, like the things that I'm interested in and the trajectory that I want to like take things on has even shifted because you learn so much over time and then you feel called to certain things over time and just lean into it because if you're feeling called to that, then that's probably where you need to go. And it's sometimes can be very hard because you're like, well, I kind of put myself out there in this way and that's what people are expecting of me. And that's why they're showing up to see me. But then now I'm moving this way, but you have to go where your heart is being called because that's, so that's what's most authentic for you.
And that's what's most sustainable.
For sure. I mean, you can come up with whatever, like the things that I'm excited about, like my brain never really stops. I can just go on and on and on because it's just like, I'm so excited about it. But if I was forcing myself to stay in a different path, then I probably wouldn't have so many downloads all the time.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah. That's why the intentions are so important,
So important, for sure.
To I'm like bringing it full circle. That's exactly why. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. So you have a new collection, the Zodiac collection, and you also have the Moxie monthly bracelet club. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah. So the Zodiac collection, we've had one for about 7 years. And then my charm manufacturer went out of business and I have been wanting to redesign them anyways. And so I'm very excited about the redesign because what we did was we worked with a professional sound healer who did radiesthesia testing of the crystals versus the vibration and the frequencies that NASA took of the planets. And so these are 100% frequency match with your ruling planet for each zodiac sign. There's so much in it, right? There's the stones and the crystals and their energies and their meanings. Then there's their frequencies that match your frequency and support your frequency. So it's just a powerful collection and I'm very excited about it.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's why I was like, no, there's science. There's so much behind it. Like,
I love behind it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to have to get on your website and look at the Zodiac collection.
Sure.
Now that I know all of that, I'm like, oh my gosh,
you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If you go back
monthly bracelet club.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say though, if you go onto my YouTube or if you go back on my Instagram, I have videos talking about each of the signs and what it means to have it as their sun, moon, or rising. And so you can kind of see like, oh, you could wear your big three, you could wear your sun, your moon, and your rising, and those frequencies would support too.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm just like all over the place in my mind. I'm like, oh, I want to ask this and I want to ask that. And then I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
And then you do your monthly bracelet club, so you can subscribe to that.
Yep. So the Maxi monthly bracelet club, you can go monthly, or you can do our VIP package, which is our annual membership, and then you get a $150 welcome box as a free gift when you sign up for the annual. And it comes with the bracelet, an intention practice, a loose crystal, so you can grow your collection. And then every month we do a members only call, which is a live Zoom call with me, and we talk about the intentions, what we're working through. I usually have a guided meditation that goes along with it. And it's just a really fun way to build community and live on purpose.
Wow, that's so fun because then you can not only just have the jewelry, but then you can also have that connection, which is really
why you're wearing it. Yeah.
Yes. And it brings it all together.
Yeah.
Where can I find you? Give us all the details.
Yeah, moxiemalas.com is the best place because everything is right there. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, all the socials as Moxie Malas. So it's MOXIEMALAS. Yeah, and I'm very easy to find. So
yes, I know my listeners are going to love you. I can't wait for them to check out all of your beautiful pieces, all the things.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica. Is there anything else that you would like to leave our listeners with before I sign off? Because I know I've already taken up an hour of your day.
Or if I was to say one more thing to listeners, I would say be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Boundaries matter. Your heart matters. Give yourself as much attention as you give to others.
So true. So true. I think often we find ourselves just busy with so many things in our lives, and especially moms, we're just so busy with our family and our kids and our jobs that we don't give ourselves the needed attention. And we matter.
We matter. You matter.
We need to put ourselves first too, and not feel guilty about it. Feel good about that, because the stronger we are as people and individuals and happy with what we're doing in our lives, then we show up better for our families and our kids. And
your kids are watching and learning how to care for themselves too.
That's right. That's right. All right, Jessica. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I just can't wait to share everything. And Jessica is such a reminder that intention, healing, and beauty don't have to be separate from every day. They can become the everyday. Whether you're stepping onto your yoga mat, wrapping a mala around your wrist, or simply grounding your feet into the grass, there's always a way to come home to yourself. And be sure to check out her work at moxiemalas.com and on all the socials. And for Big Crystal Energy listeners, Jessica's offering 10% off your purchase with the code BCE10. So go grab something gorgeous and meaningful. And until next time, stay mystical, stay grounded, and stay a little peacefully untamed. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for jumping down the rabbit hole with me. If you connected with this episode in any way, I would love it if you could share it with a friend. Also, please tag me on social media. I'm at mystical.mama.ash or at Big Crystal Energy Podcast, mostly on Instagram. It helps so much getting my episodes out there and finding more magical, kooky, and spooky friends. Sending you all Big Crystal Energy. Cheers!